Welcome to Everything's Not Black and White with your hosts, Lala and Brian.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. We are super excited about today's conversation. As you know, Brian and I, we think about family in so many beautiful ways because we blended our family together, including adoptions and steps. I don't want to say steps because I don't even like how to say it. Bonus. We have bonus in our family. And our guest today is really going to talk about what it means to have an extended family and a family that is really built on love as much as it's built on biology. And so we would really, really, really ask you to welcome our next guest to the ENBW podcast, Ms. or Frau Elisabeth Tate. Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
We're so excited to have you with us today.
I'm so excited to be
here. Your story, first of all, is just so beautiful. For our audience's knowledge, we met Liz when we were working on Pelotonia. I don't even know. It feels like 10 years ago. It feels like a long time ago.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while since we met.
2018, actually.
Yeah, gosh. Yeah, that was what, 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
Like 7 years almost. And we just loved her and her friend Nancy, and we just fell in love with them, and then we've been connected ever since. And we just loved hearing her personal journey, her personal story about being a surrogate and also a mother for a gay couple friends of hers that she had two, not one, but two babies for.
To and through.
And we want to talk about that story because we believe it's really important to talk about family in a way that expands people's minds. So we're very excited to have you today.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about what traditional family is, and I think this is a great example of how it can still be traditional and loving and caring without having the mom, dad, child dynamic to it.
Absolutely. And so, we love things that are non-traditional because, both of us quirky as hell and we just come together and do our thing. So we just love people who are like us, who are just unconventional. So Can we start a little bit and talk about like even how this journey began for you, right? Can we talk about that a little bit, Liz, please?
Well, the journey of having the babies.
Yeah, the
Well,
babies.
I met my bestie, Steven, whom I call Stevie, in college. We both went to Marshall University. Go Marshall, go Herd.
Marshall, go
Yeah.
Herd. We
are
are Marshall.
That was good. I love you so much.
I love you.
Anyway, so yeah, I met Stevie there. He was very gay, but he was not quite out of the closet. He makes a joke or comment all the time that I asked. I leaned over. He took me to my first gay bar, and probably my first like bar as a semi-adult, legally kind of, but not. Okay, anyway, it was called Driftwood, and it was in Huntington. And I leaned over because I wanted him to say it. He thinks I didn't know, and I'm like, dude, I knew. I wouldn't be around you if I didn't know because I was like not having any guys in my life at that time, and smartly.
Yes.
Because I was studying, music and German. I was busy.
That's right.
So he took me to the skate bar, and I lean over, and I'm like, the burning question. So,
Love it.
are you gay? He like looks around like, what? Look where you are. But he, you know what? He had to say it. He was still coming out of the closet. He was having some problems with his folks initially because, it's Appalachia. If you're from Appalachia, you say Appalachia.
That's right.
So I am born and raised.
Appalachia.
Yeah. So yeah, we hit it off. We were best friends, and so much that I would escape the dorm room and sleep over at his house, his apartment, and on his couch or whatever. And we soon thereafter got an apartment together, and then he met Ryan.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Comes into the
And
picture.
he's pretty awesome too. So I knew Stevie well before Ryan, just saying. I'll always say that. Knew him first. He was mine first. But no, not like that.
Of course.
But so Ryan came into the picture happily, and gave me my wings to go get my very own apartment by myself. Yeah. And Ryan moved into that apartment where Steve and I had shared, lived. And and from then on, we were like the, Three's Company type. Yeah.
Come and knock at my door.
Exactly. And Yeah, and it all came about very organically, and it was never set in stone, but it's never been my goal in life to be married and to have the babies and to live that life. If I was going to do that, I was going to do it, full on, do it right, yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I just didn't have it in me. I know it takes a lot to be a full-time parent.
It's a
right?
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a lot. for
Huge
sure.
responsibility, people.
Big
so.
responsibilities.
Yeah.
So it was a joke kind of here and there throughout the years, but we were like hanging out one night, and what initiated the conversation, I don't remember. But I was like, yeah, if I'm 30, because then it was like 100 years until I
Yeah.
was going to be 30.
I remember 30-something when we were kids. Those people
Right.
were hella old.
Yeah.
As
right?
I'm now pushing 52. I'm like,
Exactly.
what?
How did that time fly?
Time flies.
So I said, if I'm 30, if I'm ancient and I don't have a husband and no kids, I'll have a baby for you or whatever. And they're like, yeah, okay, ha ha. And then throughout the years, it became like a little side joke,
Yeah.
like take care of my uterus, don't drink too much. I never did any kind of drugs because I'm very blah. I'm just
Do
So-
your Kegels every day.
Right. I still do. Woo, it gives me cold chills. Just joking. Anyway. Sorry. TMI, maybe. Anyway, so yeah, it just and it kind of happened organically, and then I reached a certain age where I was like, oh, I'm over 34. I'm not
We're gonna
married.
do this,
I'm
we
not
need to do
gonna
it.
marry the Massengill, the Mr. Doucheman.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna be in that forever or so. And we were on a hiatus moment.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, guys, were you serious about that? Because, my biological clock is ticking like this. So, so,
Yeah.
Yep.
so
That part.
I just, bullied them into it. No, I'm joking.
I love it. So when you thought about it, and I would imagine that you probably had family members or whatever, and you were saying, yeah, I'm going to do this. Like, how did your family actually react to you thinking about doing this even?
It was never anything. I was so blessed to have the parents I had. They both passed away within 10 weeks of each other. Oh, well, 2008 is when you met me. But looking back and now being older, they were pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, my house, it was a struggle because of finances. It was a struggle. My
Sure.
dad had mental illness. My mom was an immigrant, so I'm
Yeah.
first generation American here. So, but my family, when they met Stevie and Ryan, it was nothing.
Oh.
My mom was like, "Oh, hi,"
Yeah.
and Steve was struggling. Ryan struggled a little bit with his family
Yeah.
dynamics after he came out. Because it was the 90s. It was, But my parents never batted an eye.
Mm.
And we even took them to Driftwood. No, it was the Stonewall, the other gay bar in Huntington. My parents
Okay.
came and watched a drag show well before people made a big deal out of it. And my dad was so funny. He kept leaning over saying, "Those are women." I was like, "Nope, Poppy." I called my dad Poppy. "Nope, Poppy, they're not. They're not. No, those are women." I'm like, "Nope, they're just really good drag queens." So my parents were just wonderful. And they hadn't had a grandchild yet. My sister
Yeah.
had yet to be married, and my brother never had children.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
my parents were great. The only, I don't know, Steve and Ryan's parents, by then, they were like, I guess you're conquering the world. So, okay. And they were still, even back then, they were still kind of like, I think they're over it's a choice thing. That's something that's drilled into people's head.
Sure.
Maybe from church, maybe from
Sure.
others. You're born that way. You just are.
Sure.
I mean, I've seen and met too many people and so many stories in
Yeah,
my life.
for
And
sure.
there's no way it's a choice,
Right.
especially with the drama that sometimes comes with it.
I mean, legit. I
So-
feel that way about being black. I'm like, you think I would want to be ridiculed and put
Yeah.
to the back end if I didn't have to?
Exactly.
this
I mean, it's
way? Are you
unfortunate
kidding?
that you have to have those thoughts.
Yes,
Like, you think,
right.
like you feel sorry for being black. That's just messed up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, you
right.
shouldn't have to have those thoughts.
You should
And
not.
the invisible diversities often have the same.
Absolutely.
The thing is they're invisible to a degree. degree, you
Right.
know.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
they can kind of mask, and Steve and Ryan are very butch.
Yeah.
They're called bears. I don't know if you know all the terminology, but
Yes.
there's so many subcultures within the gay
So
community.
many subcultures.
So they're bears. So they're very
Ridiculously,
manly
yes.
men until Ryan says, "Oh, hi," you don't know, or you know, and Steve, you know, I mean, you would never know until they say, "This is my husband,"
Yes.
and the assumption that they're straight, you
Yeah.
know, can kind of be like a beard.
Sure.
But it's. I mean, they don't hide it.
Yeah.
But their parents were still kind of coming out of the days of what? Now you're having a baby? And, blah, blah, blah. And his dad has
Right.
made the hugest transition.
Yeah.
Steve's dad.
Yeah.
I mean, he still has these moments where he says something's like, really?
Mhm.
Really? You're going to say, what? Think about that. But he's made the biggest transformation.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to see that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, but my parents were very cool.
I love
Growing
that.
up my whole life with just different people and stuff. So it was never a thing. I was like, yeah, these are my best friends. They're like, okay. When I moved in with Steve, my mom was like, oh, yeah, okay. I was like, don't worry, he's gay. She's like, oh, that's even better.
So good.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening here.
Yeah, exactly.
Fabulous.
Exactly.
Except I'm going to have their babies.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that
Eventually.
thing. Exactly. But I love that, first of all, so much, you know, because, you know, being even with Brian and I being an interracial couple, there's still things that we've heard even in passing with certain parts of our families, right?
Yeah.
There that just like, oh, why are you crossing over? Why are you doing these things? And I'm like, we're human beings,
Thank you.
right?
I love that because there's different types of skin tones. There's different types of facial features, etc.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
we are all the human race.
That's right. That's
and
exactly right.
And the parts are somewhat interchangeable.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct.
It doesn't matter what color you are; it all works. You know?
Correct.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I love this story so much because, first of all, it was a thoughtful, like, hey, we're going to do this. Are we doing this? Okay, we're doing this. And you made this decision to be not once, but twice pregnant for this amazing group of friends that you have. So let's talk about that a little bit, just of how to make the decision like, yeah, I'm going to have a child. Oh, no, I'm going to have two children? Okay, I'm going to have two children for you.
Well, yeah.
How did that work?
And explain the process of that too,
Yes,
like
for sure.
how you decided to process the children essentially.
Make them, create them.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
That was a poor choice of words on my part, but
Process.
Poor, but
It-
we're
you
going to be
know,
okay with
We
that.
put them on the conveyor belt, and you know.
Chocolate, flour, children. Chocolate, flour,
Little sugar,
children.
little
Just
sugar
put it
and
in there. Little
spice.
sugar, yeah, sugar, spice, and everything nice, right? That's exactly right.
There we go. It's the Ford company all of a sudden.
Yes.
Well, to go back to how did I get to two? Steve and Ryan. A lot of people think I'm saying this one person, Steve and Ryan,
Yes.
but that's two people. They're very competitive. And it's like, I couldn't just decide between one or the other.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, and they both, Ryan is the last of his McClungs.
Yes.
His father passed away when he was an infant. And the gentleman he knows as his father, and that I know as his father, is Mackenzie.
Mhm.
So Ryan, you know, he wanted to see if he can extend the bloodline as well because
That's
he
pretty
was
cool.
the only child of his biological father.
Yeah.
And yeah, Stevie was my bestie, and I had to destroy his life and make him a parent, and where he can't party all
Listen,
night.
that's right, honey.
He's got soccer games to go to.
Responsibilities.
Yeah, I got to grow up sometime. No, I'm joking.
Mhm.
But yeah, so it was. I don't think we ever even said one or two. I
Yeah.
think I just knew it was probably going to be two.
Yeah.
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 And it was so funny because I was just straight out of labor with Adia, our first. And I mean, I'm still dizzy and holding the baby and all the people in the room and whirlwind. And Ryan leans over and says, so when are we starting for mine? I was like, dude, give me a minute.
Highly competitive.
give me a minute, yeah.
Yes.
So,
yes.
yeah.
I love that. Well, can we talk about that for a minute? Because, you know, as a parent myself and having had that baby in the 10 months of gestation, but people like to pretend like it's 9 months. It's 10 months. It's 40 weeks, people.
Yeah.
It's 40 weeks, 40.
Yeah.
It's
Why don't they
10
count that
months.
first month?
Listen, I don't know why they trip.
And that's the worst one usually,
Girl,
the first month.
that part.
the
I know.
For real,
exhaustion.
for real.
You were unbearable. So
Listen.
I remember like it was yesterday.
Yeah, you remember
Unbearable.
because we were not engaged yet.
Oh.
I didn't meet him until 10 years later.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why he loves to
I get
say
it.
that kind of
Oh,
stuff. Whatever.
Ozzy was
He's like,
6, so I
Yeah, it's
actually
whatever.
missed all that.
A lot of things. But your body, you literally go through so many different hormones and changes and all the things as a woman having a child. Like, what was going through your mind emotionally, if you can even, recollect at those times? Like, yeah, this is something you're doing for your besties, which I love that you're doing. But what was that doing to you as a woman who was still a mother, but not? How did that work?
Well, okay. So I've got that question a few times with various conversations here and there. I had years to prepare.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was going to do this.
Mhm.
I mean, I knew it. It wasn't a secret. And, again, it was a running joke. But I don't know how serious they took me when I said I would do it. So there were emotions, of course. I was really hot. And then I got pregnant. I'm like, oh, am I going to be hot thereafter? What happens? Yeah. But I was very lucky, and but I had it in my mind. The mindset was there that, yes, we had agreed beforehand that they would have all legal responsibility of said child and children, financially as well. We had all that agreed. And we also agreed that I would be mama and my parents would be a set of grandparents.
Aww.
It would just be like they have 3 sets of grandparents.
Yeah.
And I explained it to people who don't necessarily get it. I'm like, okay, pretend that I was with them, like married. Not both of them, but you know what I mean? Like at least one of them, and there was a divorce, and they have full custody. It's the same idea.
Yeah.
Except my kids do live in a different state. That's
Yeah.
only because of work, and my job is here in
Right.
Columbus. But think of it that way.
Yeah.
But we had agreed that I would be mama. I was dead set on breastfeeding and providing milk. And it was so hilarious because I froze milk when I was here, and I would be the milk delivery woman. And I'd bring it.
The milk
I'd
woman.
take it to West Virginia and, put it in their freezer. So both of them had the milk at least for 7 months because, that's the most beneficial
pretty
time.
cool.
So there's no laws prohibiting breast milk going across state lines or
No,
anything?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No open and carry laws. But they were sealed.
Okay.
They were sealed and frozen.
But
So
I totally see this conversation, back in the 50s when you see like the shows from Mayberry, they're like, oh, he looks like the milkman. They were like, oh, she looks like the milk woman because she is the milk woman's baby.
But they bought me a really nice cooler, and it had wheels on it,
Nice.
and it had these side pockets that could put these ice things in it.
Yeah.
So they provided everything. They wanted me to eat organically, so they bought me all my food during the 9 months.
Love it.
Nice.
But I did Adia my first. I had to have for some reason gyros and kebabs.
Listen, I'm not mad at you.
and
'cause
Doritos with ketchup.
I
Yeah.
lived
I know.
on French fries, pickles, and Haagen-Dazs
Really?
Dolce de Leche ice cream.
Ooh.
Like I was eating a pint of that every
my
day.
God.
So I gained quite a bit of weight.
Yeah, I did too.
Quite a bit of weight during my pregnancy, but it's like
Right.
you had that craving for it, and
Yeah.
you had to have it.
Oh, I gained lots of water. I
Yeah.
swear I had a dam's worth of water in my ankles. I was so big, and I have no waist, no length
Yeah.
at my waist for those who can't see because we're not, on the podcast here. But I was all baby. I was
Yeah.
huge, and Adia came early because my body was
Okay.
like, I ain't no.
And we're
can't do
done.
it. Yeah, we're
Get
done.
out.
We're
Expelling
done.
you
Quarters
from
are
this
too
body.
cramped.
Get out.
Yeah, it was
Exactly. This apartment is way too big for both of us.
right.
Way too small for both of us. Something like that.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
she was way too big for.
Yeah.
They were both
yeah.
around 7 pounds each.
Yeah.
719 and 720.
Yeah. Yeah, those are pretty good. That's pretty good
Yeah,
size.
that's nice.
Yeah.
They need to be getting out at that point.
Yeah, I know Aji was 8 pounds.
Oh my
6
gosh.
ounces. No. And
No.
21 inches long.
Whew, well, my
Oh,
babies
no.
were really long too.
Yeah.
22. Both of them were like 20, 22.
Yeah, girl, it's a
Brian
lot.
had asked me.
What's that?
You had asked me the how we physically did it.
Yeah, I figured the audience is curious about that because I know I was curious. So
Well, we didn't use a doctor. And I did not have intercourse with those men. Sound
Yes.
like my fun Clinton man. But Yeah. So okay, let's go back a little bit.
Uh-huh.
They had some mutual friends who were a lesbian couple. This is gonna get pretty vivid. So they wanted to have a baby, and they had a male friend who donated, if you know what I mean,
Gotcha.
into a baby jar, and they met in a parking lot
It's a drug
to
deal.
hand off the baby
Drug
jar.
deal going bad.
Yeah. So, and it worked for them. So we're like, we don't need no doctor.
We're
It's
not
nature.
Jacksons.
And my dad's side is Italian, so we're fertile.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fertile myrtle right here.
Myrtle.
My grandma had 7 children. So
Yeah.
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 And I recently told the story to my babies that I had planned for a minute to tell them when they were much older, but Adia knows everything. She's 14. I mean,
Yeah.
like, right now. I sat her down, and because, I don't know what details they know. And I said, well, you guys know you're planned. You
Yes.
know I'm mama. You know your dads are married to each other. You know it's not physically possible for them to have a kid. So, I offered, and it was beautiful, and you're loved. The whole idea is planned, et cetera, and they knew what they were getting into. And I went through the whole process of the discussions with all the family, and we got to the point, and it was so gross. It was so disgusting. Oh my God, it was gross. Oh, it was so gross. It was just, I can't. So with Stevie, I went down for the weekend to West Virginia from here, and I had mapped out my ovulation. So I thought, this is the weekend we could probably try. And it's the first time, right? So they were in one room doing their thing. And Ryan comes in. He knocks on the door of my room, and he hands me the medicine dropper. And then you can probably figure out the rest.
Yes.
So we did that more than once in that weekend.
Yeah.
And so they were both involved to that extent.
Yeah.
And then, it was disgusting. So gross. So gross. But it worked.
It worked.
The first time we tried.
The first time.
Yeah. And
Nice.
Steve was just like, what?
Well, it's
like,
good to know
his
your
face.
ovulation schedule, though. I mean, that's on you, though,
Yeah.
to know that. That is going to work that way.
There's like lots of
Yeah.
little tricks.
Yeah.
But he was so shocked though. And it was like his world just sort of like, you could see it crumbling in front of him. He was like,
You're about to be a dad.
we just tried once. I was like,
Yes.
that's all it takes, mister.
That's
Just
all
take
it
one good
takes, sir.
swimmer. One good
Mhm.
swimmer.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but it was gross. So
Yeah.
gross. But that's love, huh?
Yeah,
Love can be
that's
gross.
real love. And you do it twice. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
With
Yeah.
Ryan, we had to try 3 times. Sorry,
Yeah.
Ryan, if you hear this.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm.
And had it not happened the third time, I was going to be like, we need to wait another year
Yeah.
because we need to wait another year because I did not want to have time off work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
because I'm a teacher, I get
Sure.
the whole summer, and it worked out perfectly with our first because
Yeah.
she came a little early, and it was May.
Yeah.
And we get out at the end of May, so that was perfect. I got
Yeah.
the whole summer with the baby and doing all the mama
Yes.
stuff. And
Yeah.
with my second Quinlan, it was July.
Oh, yeah.
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 So it was a little less time, a little
Yeah.
less than 6 weeks I was with them. It was
Yeah.
hard transition.
Yeah. And so you all still together today, you raise the kids together, right? Like you do vacations together, you do things together. Like
yeah.
talk about that kind of relationship.
Well, they include me in all the stuff, but they make all the big decisions.
Mhm.
Raised together. When they're at my house, they have my rules,
Yes.
which are similar.
Yes.
They're not exactly the same.
Yes.
I don't have chores for them.
Yes.
But they have chores at home and stuff like, normal, whatever that is,
Yeah.
usual family stuff.
Yes.
Mhm.
But yeah, we go out west. Stevie works for the government, so
Yeah.
the main offices for his department are way out in Kansas.
Yeah.
So we RV all the way out west. We've gone to so many national parks. I don't think these kids have realized the life they've had.
Yeah.
Because last
pretty
year they're like,
cool.
we don't want to go. no, they're becoming teens and they want to stay with their cousins.
Teens.
And they want to do their own thing. And now 80 is in high school.
Yeah.
She's got practices that start up and blah, 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 blah. So last year was the first year we didn't go. But I always have them for a week or two. Or 2 or 3 weeks, depending on his schedule and when they're going where and et cetera. And we call it Camp Mama. I call it Camp Mama. Let's go to Camp Mama.
I love that. Yeah.
It makes you feel good, just the connectivity they still have all together. I think that's amazing. I love the fact that y'all love each other just like a regular family would.
Oh yeah.
I think it's important. And you have since then become married. Now you have a husband now, at least 9 years, almost 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And so, how was he when you met and you're like, hey, yeah, this is my extended family. This is my life. Like, how did he react to all of that?
Again, I'm the luckiest person. I've seen ugly. I've seen it about this particular story, about this, but not from anybody I care about.
Yeah.
So he was fine. He was divorced and had a child. So I think he thought of it, well, she's coming with 2 kids here and there. I'm coming with my son here and there because we get him every other weekend. And, the typical.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky, and had he batted an eye, he wouldn't have made it as far as the wedding.
Real talk.
Someone played their cards right.
I mean, listen, that part. Yeah,
well, give him a shout out. What's his name?
Edward.
All right, Edward. Good job.
You're the bomb. I love you so much. You're so amazing. Which is really great.
And he cooked.
Oh,
and
girl.
he shop.
Ooh, child.
I don't do anything like
all right,
that.
that's
Listen,
enough.
I know.
You don't raise the bar here.
Listen, there's some husband envy going on right now.
Oh, yes.
Somebody doesn't like me to shop as much as I like to shop.
Yeah.
Somebody trying to harbor my ability.
Hey, you're like a coupon. If I leave you home, I save money.
Oh.
He's right. He ain't gonna lie though. I mean, that's real talk.
Yeah.
That's real talk. I love that. I love that. So, first of all, just thank you so much for sharing your story, because I think it's so beautiful, and it's so, to me, indicative of 2024 life, right?
Yeah.
Like, people have so many different ways they see themselves as family, as parents, as community guardians, as community aunties, as I like to say, or uncles. So I think it's really important. So I would love to just ask you, like, if you're giving some advice to our listeners about what it means to be family, like, what would you say to them about the meaning of family and how family really operates together?
Well, I'm kind of estranged from my siblings, not because of this stuff, because of other stuff. So family to me are those with whom you feel the most safe, those with whom you feel like you can be yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be blood. It's not. And Steve and Ryan are my family. Yeah, we have our moments, just like real family, et cetera, and so far.
Yeah.
But they're just my constants.
Yeah.
And that's not super rare, but to find people that have been in my life this long, consistently, it's them. It's them.
I love that. No, it warms my heart so much to hear your story, and just, for people, and I know they can feel it through the airways here, your energy is effervescent, and it's so fun to be around you.
Oh, shucks.
And so I just know, when you're sharing this part of yourself, it's really encouraging other folks.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that so much.
I have a bestie who is in Hilliard, and she says of her first daughter, who's now in medical school, because that's how old I am now. I knew her since she was little. She says, if any of my children would do what you did, it would be her. And it would be because she's seen this relationship. It's not out of the ordinary for her to consider that, because she has gay friends, etc.
Yes.
So she won't be surprised. My bestie won't be surprised if her daughter might do that for her bestie friends who are a gay couple right now. And she's in her mid-20s. And that's when I met them in my, I met Stevie when I was 18, 19.
Yeah.
It's got to be a real honor for someone to ask you to do that. I mean, that's
a big deal.
Yeah, because there were, there was another chick at one point in our history, who was like, "I'll have a baby for you," but she she really didn't take. I mean, I'm not anti anything, but some things, if you're going to have a baby, you have to stop doing and think about the womb.
For
as it
sure.
were, yeah.
For sure.
So they're like, she's not being considered. I was like, oh, goody, I'm the only one. Plus, they're connected.
Yeah.
And and that's another thing. They are half siblings, so they're connected as well.
Yes.
So as much as they fight and prod and
teenagerness.
say they hate each other, that's so normal.
It's the teen normal of it.
I know.
But I love the word normal in a way because you're normalizing family dynamics that are just what fits for you.
Exactly,
right?
And it's our normal, and
it is your normal.
And it is not abnormal.
Yeah.
And for my friend in Hilliard to say, my daughter, if I see anybody doing that, it will be this 1 out of 4 she has. She's 4, 2 and 3. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm not like, oh yes, humble brag. I'm just like, yeah, well, if you want the politics and the legalities to not be an issue, you can be biologically connected to that child. And that's one of the reasons why I was so keen on making sure they both had that biological connection. And then they both legally adopted the other.
Yeah.
So
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
As somebody obviously who comes from adoption in the background of my family, adoption obviously in our direct blended family, I just think it's so beautiful to think about family with what matters to you and what works for you. And so I love having this conversation to truly normalize that, to be whatever your family is exactly what it needs to be. 100%.
Exactly.
So I love that. Elisabeth, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your heart and your story and your energy and your laughter with us. It means so much to us, and it's just such a beautiful story, and we're so excited to be able to share this with our listeners. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
We love having you. So thank you so much. And Brian, how can people connect with us on the EMBW podcast?
Sure, you can follow us on Facebook, or you can email us at embwpodcast@gmail.com.
And that's our show for today. Thank you again to Elisabeth.
Great
we want to celebrate all of our friends and family and people out there listening who have traditional and non-traditional families, because all of them matters. So we hope to see you next time. Take care and have a great evening. Goodbye.
Bye.